when we talk about people like me who are spent decades in corporate career, I have to go back little bit into my childhood, and like to share few of the anecdotes, few of the learnings that we had during our time, and that really helped shape our career. So one of the earliest lessons that I learned in my life was is on honesty and integrity. My mother, when we used to come back from school, me and my brother, she used to check our bag, tiffins, everything. And one day in the bag of my brother, she found a pencil which did not belong to us, or she had not given. And she questioned my brother. Since he was not able to answer, or give a satisfactory answer, my mom was very upset, and she said that this is something which is not acceptable. And she actually heated a knife and put it on his hand. And he was a loving child. My mom liked him very much. And despite the fact that he was so much liked by my mom, she burnt his hand. And that left a big impact on us, that this is something wrong. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that some of the values, virtues, DNA, or morals are actually set when you are a kid, and perhaps somewhere or the other in your life, and that we have seen in our career also. Those DNA or those value system has actually helped us shape our career, or actually in some way impacted our career in some form or the other. Now, the other thing that I learned during my school days is the feeling for compassion, something like helping others. So this is something again we saw in the family, that you help needy, you help people who are in need. And this is something which is still we are carrying, because in some form or the other, which I'll talk subsequently. And the third thing which I learned when I was almost in my 9th, 10th or so, and I still remember my mom telling this particular thing again and again and again, emphasizing that what should be the life objective or career objective. So she said that in life you have three choices: either you work for izzat, or shuhrat, or daulat. Now, izzat is what you call respect. And she said that this is the should be your life first priority, that you try to earn some respect in the society or wherever you are. This, if you are looking at this first, shuhrat, which is fame, or daulat, which is money, well, these are secondary, they will follow. But if you have a reverse kind of a thinking, if you only run after money, or you want to suddenly become famous, it doesn't happen like that. And it may not help you in your career. And she emphasized again and again. Perhaps that time we did not understand much what she is talking. And that's how the journey started. These are few of the things that I remember from my school days, but now I realize that how it has actually helped shape my career. So, having grown up in a very small town, or not even town, I would say a hamlet, in a place called Gomia, which was in erstwhile Bihar, very close to Hazaribagh. In those days, the information about career choices or others were not available too much. And the only thing people talked about was either engineering or medical, or people talked about civil services and all. But beyond that, other career choices were very limited. And I did my plus two in science, but I realized that I am not cut out for physics or mathematics. And ultimately, I joined economics, where I had to cope with statistics and mathematics. But after having done my honors, I was trying my hand on various exams like bank PO and many other such job oriented kind of a thing. Could not make it, but having prepared, I was also giving my management examination and I happened to land in Xavier Institute. That was not by, I would say, design, it was by default. But I would say that having joined a management institution was a turning point in my life. And I still remember with limited money, I still remember that we could not afford lot of management books and all those days, and we had to rely on sitting in library, making notes, copying notes, because even photocopier did not exist those days, and we had no such options that time. We had to simply make notes or copy notes of seniors, which was circulating. And but during the college days, we had few learnings again, which added to my value system. The motto of the college is putting the last first, and they made us go through rural camps and teach underprivileged children, and so on and so forth. And putting the last first is the motto, which is we have to be helping people who are at the bottom of the society, or people who can really help. And another thing which I realized is that doing management was not that easy. The rigor was there, so it required a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, perseverance. But one thing I learned in the college was simplicity. And this was something which is very important, and this is something which really added to my value systems. And I remember when I was in the college, my father, he was reviewing what we were doing again and again, and that time he gave me a quotation. He gave me a quotation, but the paper on which typed he had given, I still retain it. That was given so long back. So I'll just read the gist of this quote by Walter D. Wintle. Uh, and it says that you have to think high to rise. You have to be sure of yourself before you can even win a prize. I am just reading a final excerpts. Life battle don't always go to stronger or faster men, but sooner or later the man who wins is the man who think he can. So this left an indelible mark that it's not necessary to be too intelligent or genius to be successful in life, and but you have to have a winning attitude that I can do something. And this is something which really helped think that I realize that life is like a race, and I mean, you have many ups and downs. And if we are able to think that we can win, we can really make the difference. So this quote I still retain, and this is something which I can never forget. And at the campus also, 2 years passed, and when the time came for placement in those days, I'm talking about almost 33, 34 years back, and we had only three companies which came for placement, and only four of us got placed. So you can imagine, all the others were left to fend for themselves. So we had no clue what to do. So those days the option was to go for public sector uh, and give exams. And again we started giving public sector exams, and I cleared couple of them. Unfortunately, again could not get through in the interviews. Something happened, and I did not get the job. So I got a feeling that I am getting rejected all the time. What will I do? And meanwhile, to ensure that I don't waste my time, I also joined to do law, so that at least when I'm preparing and giving for such exams or interviews, and I applied in a lot of places, based on advertisement, but did not get a call. Maybe one or two we got, but could not get through. Finally, few of the friends advised that sitting at a small place like Ranchi, you may not be able to, crack into good companies or anywhere. Why don't you come to Delhi and maybe you can try your hand here and I'll go to Delhi. So I went to Delhi with almost 500 rupees in my pocket. So I landed, it was December if I'm not wrong. And I reached Delhi, went to his place in Ashok Vihar, and I found his room locked. So I said maybe he would come back from his office, so I should wait. So I checked from the landlord. They said they have no idea. So I called up his office and all. He was not there. So kept waiting for a long time. He did not turn up. Apparently, I had seen the house of one of his friends in my earlier visit. So I went there, told them that I have come from Ranchi and he is not there. So they said, no problem, you can sit here and wait for him. So I kept waiting till 9 p.m. He did not turn up. So this uh, friend of my friend was a physiotherapist and he had a small clinic in the front side of his house. And ultimately, those people were kind enough to tell me that no worries, if your friend has not come, you can stay with us. So I was thankful, but they said that you have to stay in the clinic. So, I had to literally spend the night on the examination table. That was my first experience when I landed in Delhi, and this is something I still remember that this is how I started. Thankfully, I did not have to sleep on the railway station or anywhere. We had friends who were really very helpful. I really cannot forget that, and this is something uh, I would say that I learned in my later life to create networking and partnership. You never know, who will come to your help or rescue anytime. So keep on building relationship. This is very important. And finally, my search for my job started. Honestly speaking, I was not aware what is a yellow page because I had not seen it. And I was told that yellow pages is, where you get all the information about placement agencies or not many information. And these friends helped me create my CV. And I started posting CVs, started looking as a lot of ads, where to apply, and I don't know how many I have posted or sent, but I also remember you know going to places like Connaught Place or Nehru Place and walking into each building, giving CVs to various offices floor wise, and that used to be a tedious task, traveling full day, walking from office to office. And I remember in some of the offices, we were literally thrown out also. I was asked to just go out, they don't have vacancies. But that was the way we, really struggled in those days. Quite contrary to today's time where you have Naukri.com or you have so many information on the net and so many things available. And that time I used to make a note also of which all offices I have applied. And I still maintain that diary. And today, I wish those things existed in our time. But thankfully, after a little bit of struggle, I landed a job. But this was an ad hoc job. And this was an ad hoc job for maybe 5 6 months. And once I got this opportunity, there was no looking back. And once I got this, I also got the confirmation. And then I kept on moving from one corporate to another. I kept on moving from companies and moved into many of the dream companies. And of course, the entire career of more than 30 years, I can't sum it up here, but it was a roller coaster ride. I had lot of ups and downs, lot of learnings. So I remember when I was working for Aisha, which is in those days, 90s, supposed to be a dream company for people in human resource and engineering. And I happened to work in this company, and at a very early stage of your career, they give you a leading role. I was the kind of a plant HR head there, taking care of HR and administration. And I remember one of the executive director who had just moved in, and this is, I'm talking about maybe late 90s, maybe 98 or so. Uh, we had a mobile phone which had already come into the system, but was supplied by the service provider. It was not available in the market. So he said, Mussarat, why don't you get me a mobile quickly, because I'll be needing one. So I called the Airtel guy and told him that why don't you bring 4 or 5 good models, and he got those. I selected three out of that, best three, which I found looks very good, and I walked into his cabin. And I'll not shy away from telling his name. His name was Mr. R.C. Maheshwari, and he was the executive director. So I told him, sir, I have got these three mobiles for you, and you may choose whichever you like. Uh, he was visibly upset, and he literally shouted at me, telling that, Mussarat, I don't expect this. I asked you for a phone, and you are asking me to make a decision. So you are doing upward delegation. So I did not understand. I thought I am doing a great job. But he said, let me tell you something. If you are a manager, act like a manager. Take decision. You have to have this decision making ability in you. And why are you worried? And he said, you better choose a phone, give it to me, and it should work. If it doesn't work, then it is your fault. Then I was very dejected. I went back and I thought what wrong I have done. But then, after introspection, I realized that, that was the time that he was actually pushing for uh, decision making capability in me. That if I am a manager, I should be able to take a decision. He was actually pushing for my risk taking ability. So risk taking is something that we are averse to in any organization, and the fear of failure. That, and then I realized that if I have to really grow in my career, I have to stand up. I have to take decision. I have to take few risks, and I should not worry about fear of failure. Another, incident which definitely I would like to add here quickly is another incident which I quickly want to talk on humility is that again in Aisha when I was working, there was some audit to be done, ISO audit, and this was the first tractor company going for that audit way back in the early 90s. And I was part of the team which was supposed to take care of the auditors. So we had made arrangement for them to stay in Taj at Sardar Patel Marg. And I was given the charge of the hospitality, the travel, logistics, and all. So I went to Taj, and I met the manager there, and I told him that you have to be very very particular about these people, because they are very esteemed guests. So the manager told very clearly that, sir, don't worry, we know about Aisha, and we'll take care. We have had guests before also. But I was very insisting, and I checked the room, I checked everything, the schedule, and next day again I went, just to reiterate that things are being taken care properly. And after again repeating the same thing, I asked this gentleman to give me his mobile number, or sorry, his card, so that I can have his number, and also that I can be in touch with him. The moment he gave me his card, his name was uh, Saurabh Bhargav. So incidentally, our chairman that time was Mr. Subodh Bhargav. So I told this gentleman that, oh, what a coincidence. Even our chairman is Bhargav, Mr. Subodh Bhargav. So what a coincidence that you have the same name. Then this gentleman very politely told me that, sir, I am his son. And you can imagine my plight. I was firing the son of our chairman, and he was so humble, he never told me. So this was a big lesson in humility, I found. And this thing is, this is always, there in my mind when I talk about humility. And armed with all these kind of values, I kept on moving in my career from one company to another, and finally I have landed in Maruti, which is again a kind of a dream company for our kind of folks. And here again, I would say that in my entire journey, some of the things that I learned is that when you have so many uh, kind of values and system that you built over years, uh, to create the right recipe for success, you have to have the right balance. And sometimes it has happened that it's like when you prepare a dish, what will be the right mix of all the ingredients that you are going to put. So if there's something goes high or low, the dish will be bad. Similarly, in my career, I realized that, and that calibration actually has taken a lot of time. So sometime we have also learned that we have been very straightforward. We have been taking stand. It works most of the time, but sometimes it so happens that when you are too idealistic, too realistic, uh, and that is what I have faced in my career, is that straight trees are cut first. So it has its both flip side also and the good side also. And with all this, now I have almost come to the fag end of my career, having achieved many things in my life. Uh, Today, 2018, I became president of my alumni association. Again, an honor, a kind of a professional respect that I got. I am now vice president for NHRDN. Again, a professional respect in the HR community that I got, and I'm part of various other committees. Ultimately, winning a Father Van Den Bogart Distinguished Alumni Award from my institute is a lifetime kind of an achievement for me, and this has only been possible with the kind of lessons that I learned from my mom, and the blessings that I have from my parents, friends, family. So that is something which I cannot forget. And in the end, I wish to reiterate that the spark that was ignited in my growing up years has helped me shape my career and continues to be my ikigai. So my at this end of my career, I have plunged into doing PhD. Now this is an example of one such example of my continuous such kind of spark which is coming into me, and the journey continues. And thank you very much.